You've been praying, but missing the signs. Archangel Michael is begging you to notice this before you miss your miracle. This morning, at the edge of dawn, something fragile and holy pressed close. The kind of hush that slips between the ticking of the clock and the first bird's cry. The kind of stillness that only heaven recognizes. When one heart on earth breathes a prayer so deep, the heavens lean in, listening with fire. And in that moment, beneath the hush, a movement began. A whisper. A presence. A message. You have been praying. You have been waiting. You have been crying out in the night, lighting candles no one else sees, pacing the floor with petitions carved into your bones. Your prayers have been heard. They always were. But what if hearing is not the issue? What if the miracle has already passed by? Silent, swift, disguised as ordinary, while you waited for it to announce itself with thunder. This is not a message of accusation. This is not rebuke. This is alarm. This is the sounding of a trumpet by one who knows the cost of silence. Archangel Michael, the guardian of revelation, the warden of timing, is pacing. Sword drawn, eyes scanning, knocking on the door of your awareness with the patience of eternity and the intensity of a commander at war. He is not angry. He is pleading. He is not condemning. He is warning. You have prayed, but you missed the signs. The signs were the courier, not the miracle itself, but the map toward it. The signs passed like feathers in the wind, like breadcrumbs on a forest floor you never thought to watch. This is not a message for the masses. It is a divine recall for the faithful who have tarried in prayer but drifted in perception. For those whose hearts still burn but whose eyes have grown weary. You have felt movement, but you couldn't read the map. And now heaven is shouting in silence. Look again. We are now in what heaven calls the hour before belief. Its sacred, trembling window before the next breath is taken in faith or doubt. Before the next move is made in obedience or oblivion. Miracles are scheduled, but you must be on time to receive them. There's a child waiting to be healed, a business about to be birthed, a marriage standing one conversation away from resurrection. And each is suspended, hanging between your prayer and your perception, between the answer and your attention. One missed handshake, one unopened envelope, one train door you stepped away from. These are earthly symbols of what's been happening in the spirit. The angel came. The whisper passed. The scroll was unrolled. But your eyes were closed. You have not lacked prayer. You have lacked attention. You sounded the trumpet, but didn't recognize the drummer who answered. This message is a holy interruption, a spiritual course correction. Archangel Michael is here, not to accuse you, but to awaken you. You will be shown the signs. You will learn the whispers. You will feel the pull. But you must stop, turn, notice. Because the miracle is not lost. It is near. But whether it arrives in your hands or passes to another depends on what you do next. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 666 is now surrounding you. At 3:13 a.m., when the veil between grief and grace thins to a single breath, I heard it, a voice like iron wrapped in light. The room did not tremble, but my spirit did. Not a storm, not a shout, just a stillness so thick it felt like pressure against the soul. And in that sacred moment, the air bent with urgency. I saw him, Archangel Michael. He stood tall, cloaked in clarity. His sword burned with unfiltered truth, cutting through deception, through delay, through distraction. The blue flame that trailed him was not just fire. It was discernment itself, alive and moving. He laid a hand upon my shoulder, and it wasn't comfort I felt. It was instruction. It was urgency. It was the weight of heaven leaning in, whispering the single word that breaks the silence. Notice. By sunrise. By the next family dinner. By the close of business this week. Something will move. Something will shift. Something will call your name in an unfamiliar voice. You are in the window. Heaven has scheduled a sign. But signs only serve the eyes that watch. Michael is not here as symbol. He is here as commander. He is here as hero. He is here as the voice of God's timing, fierce, focused, and full of fire. And this message, it is not for the crowd, not for the curious. This word is for the one who has cried behind closed doors, who has lifted empty hands and asked, "Why haven't you answered?" For the one who believes, but walks like they forgot how. Michael is speaking to you. Not your pastor. Not your prayer group. Not the influencer with the loudest voice. You. The one who pressed through spiritual fatigue just to hear this. Because the signs were always there. You were just too distracted to see them. The scent of rain before it falls. A stranger saying your name when no one else is around. The streetlight flickering at the moment you ask God for confirmation. These are not random. These are not background noise. They are divine signals, coded in the language of your daily life. Heaven has always spoken gently, but the ones who hear are those who pause. And now Archangel Michael pleads, notice. Because what you've been calling delay may be direction. What you've been calling confusion may be cloaked protection. You asked for thunder, but God sent a sparrow, and that sparrow carried the seed of your miracle. This is the hour of small signs with massive consequence. A text you almost deleted. A neighbor's offhand comment that echoes a dream you've had 3 nights in a row. A door you thought was closed suddenly unlocked, but only for 10 minutes. Michael's signs are not sent with trumpets. They are woven into timing, atmosphere, memory. You must begin to reframe how heaven communicates. Because signs are smaller than your expectation but larger than your fear. Heaven doesn't send billboards when the whisper will do. Because if you cannot hear the whisper, you're not yet ready for the weight of the miracle. And Michael is not here to decorate your life. He is here to redirect it. Right now, pause. Whatever you're doing, pause. Whisper aloud, Michael, open my eyes. Say it again. Michael, open my eyes. This invocation isn't magic. It's not formula. It's rehearsal. You are tuning your ears to the frequency of instruction. You are signaling heaven that you are awake. Michael is both warrior and watchman. He stands in the space where battles are fought and where signs are missed. He fights to remove interference. He watches to protect alignment. But you must choose to see. This is not just another message. This is the answer to what you thought heaven ignored. The angelic realm is speaking through patterns, nudges, and time-coded events. And if you respond, if you engage, then what was once silence becomes guidance. And what once felt like distance becomes acceleration. The sword has already been sheathed. The sign is already en route. But whether it becomes your testimony or someone else's depends on what you do with this moment. Step into it. Not with fear, not with guessing, but with focused hope. The next 72 hours are heavy with divine appointment. Stay ready. Stay still. Stay sharp. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. There's a strange ache sitting just beneath your chest. Not quite fear, not quite sadness, but something persistent. Something unnamed. A feeling that won't let go, like a wind brushing against your spirit every time you try to move forward. It shows up in quiet moments, when a friend's laughter feels different, when your favorite place suddenly feels unfamiliar. It comes in the form of a conversation that should have comforted you but left you unsettled. A dream you've had 3 nights in a row, but the ending keeps shifting, as if heaven is rewiring something in your subconscious. These are not trivial. These are not emotional leftovers. These are spiritual signals. Heaven is not only answering prayers, it's stirring the environment around you. The disruption you feel is not chaos, it's calibration. And Michael is sounding the warning. Do not dismiss the disturbance. The trembling in your relationships. A shift in your emotions. The way people seem to be watching you without understanding you. These are not coincidences. They are clues. Gossip is not just noise. It is spiritual static. When people begin to whisper about you, when alliances shift without explanation, when someone close becomes distant for no reason, heaven is exposing the watchers. Those who are peeking into your life, not to support you, but to spy on your season. Michael says this clearly. They know something but not all. They sense a shift. They feel the weight of favor hovering over you, and it unsettles them. They may not know what God is doing, but they know He's doing something. That's why your phone rings less. That's why certain people who once called you daily have gone silent. The absence isn't rejection, it's protection. But if you misread it, you'll grieve what God removed to guard your sign. This is not about paranoia. It is about perception. A missed call that could have changed your future. A meeting rescheduled without explanation. A friend who suddenly advises you to settle just as God is preparing your next level. These are not just disappointments. They are diversions sent to test your discernment. And Michael is waving the flag before you step into a trap cloaked as convenience. Your heart may be breaking with confusion. You may be wrestling with betrayal, questioning how people you trusted could change so quickly. But heaven says this: do not blame what was meant to bless you. These emotions are real, but they are not the full story. Pain is present, but so is prophecy. You are walking through a thin place, where signs do not scream, they whisper. You must learn this now. Signs rarely announce themselves with thunder. They come as a wrong turn that guides you right, as a delay that divinely resets your steps, as an interruption that becomes your instruction. Michael is pleading with you. Do not rush to judgment. Do not call it failure when it's actually heaven's filter. What you call a closed door may be a sealed gate guarding premature entry. What you call silence may be a sanctified pause, God's way of keeping you in rhythm with your destiny. The danger is not in the delay. The danger is in misinterpreting the delay. Michael's signs often arrive through unexpected messengers. A barista who hands you a receipt with a number that matches your childhood address. A child who innocently repeats a sentence you prayed weeks ago in private. A stranger who returns a lost item, and within that return is a detail you needed to remember. These are divine nudges disguised as ordinary moments. Yet, here is where many fail. They overanalyze everything, obsess over every coincidence, or worse, expect the dramatic and miss the divine. The enemy thrives on that, making you expect fireworks when God sends feathers. Fear begins to interpret silence as absence, and soon your posture shifts from watchfulness to worry. Michael calls you back, not to striving but to discernment. When the storm of confusion rages, here is your holy assignment. Breathe and name what you feel. Journal and record what shifted. Invite a spiritual witness, someone grounded to pray with you and keep you aligned. Because mystery is not God hiding from you. It's God inviting you deeper. Mystery is not absence. It is presence wearing a different robe. Michael's whispers often come as riddles, small, consistent, slightly veiled. And your job is not to decode instantly, but to stay present until the pattern becomes the path. So ask yourself this now: what if the very thing you've been avoiding is the seed of your answer? What if the disappointment you cursed was the redirection you prayed for? Can you look again, not with anxiety, but with angelic attention? Type "I am a watcher" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 4444 is now guiding your discernment. If this word is stirring something deep within you, then listen closely. You are not just receiving this message for you. Someone else is depending on your obedience to spread what heaven is saying. When you support this ministry, through a YouTube super thanks, membership, or a donation via the PayPal link in the description, you are sowing into souls who are desperate for clarity, for hope, for direction. The river of revelation flows fastest where others have dug wells. I heard the Spirit whisper Isaiah 58:11. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. That's not a verse, that's a promise. And it's aimed at the givers, the sowers, the ones who recognize the divine moment. I feel the urgency to say this. Your seed is a sign that you notice. And when you notice, heaven multiplies. Toe boldly. Support prophetically. Activate your reward. Type "I become a kingdom funder" in the comments if you're moved to support. 1,000-fold blessing code 777 is now loosed over your life. You have been asking, why now? Why this? Why them? But what if the betrayal wasn't just a wound but a signal? What if the conflict you're facing, the disrespect, the rejection, the delay, wasn't an interruption but an invitation into something more sacred, more strategic, more spiritual than you could ever imagine? Hear this. Conflict is not chaos when heaven is involved. Conflict becomes a compass when interpreted through the lens of the Spirit. And Archangel Michael, sword sheathed, but authority blazing, comes now not just to fight on your behalf, but to frame the war you're in. Because you're not being punished. You're being positioned. Yes, they lied. Yes, they left. Yes, the door closed right after you fasted. But listen carefully. What you lost in man's favor, heaven is restoring through divine filtration. The person who walked away was an agent of exposure. The boardroom that voted against you was heaven's sieve, separating what cannot go with you into your next. The attack didn't come to stop your anointing. It came to prove it. Light will die and bring water for warrior's egg. He brings it as a spotlight, to expose the hidden alignments working to derail your assignment. He doesn't create conflict, but he reveals when darkness is trying to intercept your promise. His role is not only protection, it is clarification. He stands in the gap, sword drawn, eyes blazing with the timeline of heaven, saying, "This test is not punishment. It is preparation." But here is where the battle shifts. Your response dictates your result. When you respond in fear, the enemy gains access to rewrite your story. When you respond in stillness, heaven rewrites the outcome. There is a reason the conflict came when it did. It's not random. It's a trigger point. Your spiritual DNA is being tested for capacity, not just character. God is watching to see, can you steward this pain with purpose? Can you wield discernment when you're wounded? Your calling attracts resistance because your obedience threatens hell. You don't face opposition because you're off track. You face it because you're on assignment. And Michael stands guard over assignments with generational impact. That's why this doesn't feel like just another test, because it isn't. It's warfare over territory. Understand this. Spiritual battle is not a brawl. It is a chess match, timing, positioning, wisdom, silence, and prophetic restraint. Heaven's warriors don't fight by noise. They fight through alignment. And right now, you are being repositioned by heaven's hand through what looks like relational collapse and circumstantial resistance. But it's not falling apart. It's being reordered. Michael is revealing patterns. 3 to watch. First, when your purpose is targeted by rising opposition, it's not that you're psyched, it's that you're marked. Second, when key resources are delayed, stolen, or strangely diverted right before a breakthrough, heaven is revealing the thief. Third, when relationships suddenly twist, not just ordinary drama, but a precise attempt to isolate your voice. That's not personality, that's principality. But Michael stands between you and every agenda that is not authored by God. This is the moment to use spiritual discernment, not just emotional reaction. Test what you feel against what God said. Pray not just for relief, but for revelation. Ask heaven, what is this really about? Seek wise counsel. Revisit prophetic patterns. Because discernment protects what prayer unlocks. You will be tempted to retaliate. You will be tempted to clear your name, to clap back, to prove your worth. But Michael does not endorse revenge. He endorses righteous restraint. He fights when you stay still. He moves when you hold your time. And when you trust heaven's justice, God will prepare a table in full view of every adversary. If you're being targeted, rejoice. It's not a curse. It's a confirmation. You are entering a new realm of influence. Promotion always attracts pressure. But pressure under Michael's supervision becomes the door through which miracles walk in. So here's your posture when the conflict spikes. Go quiet. Go into prayer. Name the perceived attack. Ask Michael for a confirming sign before reacting. Wait 24 hours. And move only with confirmation. This is strategic stillness. It's not passive. It's power. It trusts timing more than reaction. Track everything. Write down the timing of attacks, the numbers that repeat, the phrases that keep appearing in dreams or conversations. Heaven speaks through alignment. Learn the language of your breakthrough. Because this is not the end. It's the edge. And what you're standing on right now, this cliff, this crisis, this confusing mess, is the very place where heaven will step in and reroute everything. The sword is drawn. The angel is ready. Now how will you respond? Type "I choose stillness" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 8844 is being released over your conflict. Within the next 7 to 2 hours, the fabric of your atmosphere will shift. This is not conjecture. This is not poetic exaggeration. Archangel Michael has sounded a divine timestamp. Something is approaching the edge of your life. Something that will not knock twice. The air around you is being stirred. The spiritual realm is tightening the perimeter. And the urgency is not fear-driven. It is instruction-driven. Because what heaven has prepared for you will arrive clothed in disruption. This is your divine notice. You have entered an acceleration window. And while the miracle is still hidden from the eyes of those around you, the signs of its approach are beginning to flicker like lights before a storm. A meeting will suddenly shift. A message will come unexpectedly, not from who you expected, but from someone whose timing now carries divine weight. An item you misplaced will resurface, but not by chance. With it will come a name, a number, or a memory tied to your next step. Michael is not shouting because you are in danger. He's declaring because preparation determines possession. Heaven never sends warning without purpose. This alert is your alignment. In this window, what you overlook may be what costs you the very miracle you've prayed for. The enemy is not waiting to steal your blessing. He is already at work trying to distract you from its arrival. The escalation may seem minor at first. A voice in a hallway, a question in a text, a rescheduled appointment. But these moments are loaded with meaning. The hiring manager might suddenly go silent. A friend may mention a dream that mirrors your own. These are not background noise. They are spiritual breadcrumbs, and Michael is urging you to gather them now. He is also revealing the faces behind the tension. There may be colleagues masking envious concern, family members who unknowingly echo the enemy's discouragement, even patterns from your past that tried to reemerge, dressed as comfort, pulling you back into old versions of yourself. Michael says, watch the patterns, not just the people. Because sometimes the enemy doesn't send a person. He resurrects a former mindset. Within this 72-hour window, every choice matters. Do not rush. Do not settle. Heaven is asking you to slow your decisions, not your faith. Confirm every move. Double-check every document. Listen for confirmation in 3 forms before you sign, commit, or speak. Divine timing will not be rushed by anxiety. It is precise, and so must you be. There will be signs. They will come like whispers in the natural, a name that repeats, a financial nudge, a dream about a locked or open door, a conversation that loops back to the very thing you thought was irrelevant. These are not coincidences. They are coded messages from the realm of angels. Pay attention. Heaven often speaks through echo. When the same message comes from three separate places, that is not chance, it is Michael pointing. But be warned, there will be traps. Rushing to say yes because you're afraid the opportunity will come again. Accepting the first offer because waiting feels too risky. Or assuming the delay means denial. Michael is issuing a firm command. Restraint now is obedience. Rushing now is rebellion against timing. So how do you move in a time like this? You move with sacred caution. You stay in prayer. You ask Michael to give you a physical sign, a repeated number, a song, a phrase from a stranger. Write it all down. Document it. What seems like random noise now will become your map tomorrow. Michael gave this vision. The enemy tries to steal your map the moment you finally find it. But the angelic realm is keeping your parcel, your sign, visible. But only for those who watch. Tell one trusted person about this 72-hour alert. Ask them to cover you in prayer, to stand guard beside you. Because when two agree, the enemy is silenced and heaven accelerates. Let me give you two scenarios. A woman applies for a job and hears nothing, until a confession email reveals her name was never submitted by a jealous coworker. Heaven reopens the door because she did not settle. A man is ghosted by someone he loved, only to discover the delay allowed space for the right covenant connection to emerge. Relationship not of emotion, but of purpose. Both received miracles because they did not panic. They prepared. So now I speak clearly. Do not panic. Prepare. Michael is not releasing fear. He is releasing strategy. He is asking for eyes that don't blink and hearts that won't jump at the first glitter that comes. Wait. Watch. Weigh every sign. This is not just 72 hours of time. It is 72 hours of alignment. And it will determine whether you step into the miracle or watch it pass you by. Type I am in position in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 7171 is now securing your timeline. Be still. Heaven fights when you don't. That is not a poetic thought. That is a divine command from the throne of God, carried by the voice of Archangel Michael into the center of your situation. Because the chaos you are standing in, the noise that surrounds your mind, the swirl of opinions and emotions, none of it will carry you forward. None of it will protect your miracle. Stillness, true spiritual stillness, is not weakness. It is warfare disguised as trust. Michael is not asking you to lay down your will. He's commanding you to lay down your reactions. Because silence is not the absence of movement. It is the posture that opens space for God's movement. Stillness is not withdrawal. It is the gate that shields what has not yet fully formed. You are on the verge of something sacred, something tender, something time. And in this precise hour, the atmosphere around you must be guarded with intentionality. There are 3 pillars of protection heaven is releasing right now: silence, boundary, and discernment. Not just words, weapons. And Michael is handing them to you as spiritual strategy. Silence is your shield. Start and end your day with deliberate stillness. 10 to 15 minutes of closed doors, closed mouths, open ears. Let heaven speak first, not social media. Let the Spirit leave the first imprint on your day, not anxiety. Journal the impressions you receive, even if they don't make sense yet. Prophetic clarity often arrives in pieces, Puzzle pieces only discernible in hindsight. Boundary is your spiritual fence. Not everyone deserves access to your updates. Not every year is holy enough to hold your plans. In this season, reduce the circle. 3. Trust in people. That's all. Protect what is still forming. Do not post what you are still praying about. Do not share what is still sacred. Michael is very clear. Overexposure invites interference. Keep it covered. Discernment is your compass. Not every open door is from God. Not every delay is from the devil. You must test what you feel. Line it up with Scripture. Cross-check it with previous prophetic patterns. And when in doubt, wait for confirmation. If God is truly in it, it will not expire while you seek Him. Michael's protection is not just about defending you. It's about refining you to make right decisions without needing divine alarms every time. Heaven trains through patterns. There are also practical rituals of protection you can engage in daily. In the morning, declare aloud, Michael, cover my path. Keep a physical symbol, a note, a ring, a bracelet, somewhere you will see it often. Let it serve as a reminder that you are under divine surveillance. When emotionally charged texts or emails arrive, pause. Read. Do not respond instantly. Heaven fights best when you do not flinch in the flesh. Take a spiritual audit. What habits are leaking your energy? Overworking, overhearing, overpleasing. Choose one and remove it this week. Heaven moves quickly where the vessel is uncluttered. Create space for divine traffic. God will not send a download to a device already running 1,000 tabs. Silence is your sword. It confuses the enemy. It shields divine timing. It guards the integrity of revelation. Michael urges you, do not announce what heaven has not yet released. Prophetic signs are often fragile in their early form. They must be hidden before they can be held. Speak protection over yourself with simple but weighty declarations. I am sealed. I am seen. I am guarded. Use them as anchors when your emotions surge. Let them become the rhythm of your stillness. Invite Michael's assistance actively. Don't assume, ask. Say, Michael, protect my schedule. Guard my resources. Filter my relationships. Shield my mind. This is not superstition. It is partnership. Angelic presence accelerates obedience but never overrides responsibility. Heaven will cover what you are willing to steward. If your conflict touches legal or financial matters, Michael encourages you to act wisely in the natural while standing in faith. Yes, pray. Yes, and fast. But also get the counsel. Call the advisor. Ask the hard questions. Protection is both spiritual and strategic. Do not confuse passivity for faith. You are not being asked to disappear. You are being asked to prepare. Stillness is not a season of inactivity. It is the season where heaven builds in silence what will be revealed in power. And in that silence, you will know this. You are not unguarded. You are not unseen. You are not unarmed. You are under the shadow of Michael's wings, walking in the watchful will of a Father who sees everything. Type I am shielded in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 9921 is now releasing divine coverage over your home, your heart, and your harvest. You are not who they think you are anymore. The version of you that was timid, doubting, easily shaken, that version has expired in the spirit. What the world sees is still unfolding. Heaven has already stamped as transformed. Archangel Michael is standing now, not as a protector over weakness, but as a witness to your power. This is the shift. The moment where heaven no longer merely shields you, it now activates you. You prayed from a place of brokenness. You waited from a place of desperation. But now, the winds have changed. You are moving from protection into power, from watching for signs to becoming one yourself. The enemy was hoping you would stay crouched. He was counting on your silence becoming your surrender. But heaven has whispered your name into a new authority. And Michael, the great warrior angel, has been sent to confirm it. This power is not loud. It is not arrogant. It is not emotional bravado. It is the kind of authority that grows quietly, like roots under pressure, like steel in the fire. Every time you chose not to retaliate, your wings formed. Every time you forgave when it would have been easier to fight, your back straightened in the spirit. Every time you showed up, even when no one clapped or noticed, heaven marked you as ready. You are no longer just a recipient of miracles. You are now a carrier of breakthrough. What once felt like isolation was incubation. What once looked like being overlooked was heaven hiding you for a reason. And now, the covering is lifting. You are stepping into sight, but not for applause, for assignment. Michael is here not just to protect you, but to commission you. To declare that discernment has become your weapon, that boundaries have become your territory, that stillness has trained your senses, that silence has taught you spiritual governance. You are no longer asking others to confirm who you are. You are standing in the authority of heaven's announcement. You have been approved in private. Now walk in public power. There are 3 empowerment habits heaven is asking you to practice now. First, declare your assignment aloud every day. Not what you do, but what you're called to shift. Speak it boldly. Second, record your wins, the small confirmations, the prophetic alignments, the divine nudges, because momentum is sustained through memory. Third, stay grateful in delay, because gratitude in obscurity prepares you for glory without pride. Let me show you what this looks like. There was a woman, silenced, mocked, passed over for leadership in her local ministry. He prayed. He served. She said nothing. 1 year later, a door opened, not where she had begged to be accepted, but where her obedience had made room for miracles. She was called to lead a movement, and the very people who overlooked her had to ask for her intercession. Her empowerment came not by force, but by fire-tested faithfulness. Empowerment in the kingdom looks like this: wings formed through resistance, and flight birthed in silence. No one saw it coming, but heaven had it scheduled. You must understand, you are being reforged. You are being recloned. The old strategies no longer fit. The old timidity no longer serves. You are being given access, not for status, but for stewardship. Heaven is not lifting you so you can shine. Heaven is lifting you so you can carry light to the ones still in the dark. Say this now: I step into my next with humility and authority. Heaven equips me. Say it again. Let your atmosphere shift with your confession. I step into my next with humility and authority. Heaven equips me. There will be temptation to flaunt your rise. Oh, let your character speak louder than your increase. Let your fruit declare what your mouth does not need to defend. Michael's empowerment is precise, not performative. He will open doors without you forcing them. He will elevate your voice without you demanding a platform. You are being raised to serve, not to be seen. Now go back. Recount the miracles. Remember what God already did. Why done what was healed, what was saved, what was restored? Because the memory of past victories is the soil that grows future faith. You are no longer surviving the delay. You are now stewarding the increase. The miracle is not just coming to you. It is about to come through you. Type "I am empowered" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 3131 is activating spiritual territory under your feet. This is why it's been happening. This is why the waiting has felt heavy. This is why the signs have felt blurred, why your prayers seem to echo back empty. Heaven was never ignoring you. It was initiating you. What looked like delay was divine design. What felt like silence was strategy. And now, as Archangel Michael steps forward, he does so with a scroll in his hand and fire in his eyes. The message is no longer hidden. The reason for the disruption is ready to be revealed. The season you're in is not a punishment. It is a purification. You've been placed in a spiritual refining chamber. God has been removing what cannot go with you into your next. Relationships, habits, ways of thinking, all of it was tested because heaven is not reckless with miracles. What God gives you must not destroy you. So he delays until you're ready. He repositions until you can carry the weight of the assignment. He strips until only what's eternal remains. Michael hath been watching the entire process, not just protecting you from outside attack, but ensuring the blueprint of heaven is not altered by impatience. That is why signs have been small. That is why instructions have come through whispers. You weren't supposed to run. You were being trained to watch. Here is the revelation. The miracle was never far. It was just wearing the wrong clothes in your mind. You expected it to arrive loud, clear, dramatic. But it came gentle. It came daily. It came as the person you nearly dismissed. The missed call that redirected your schedule. The job you didn't get, which made room for the one tied to your true purpose. Heaven was repositioning through redirection. I saw a vision, a parchment being unrolled in heaven. Your name was at the top. Underneath it, a schedule. Not days or hours, but obediences. Yes, heaven's timing is linked not just to ours, but to hearts aligned. Every moment you surrendered was a checkbox mark. And now, the scroll is reaching its final fold. The season is turning. Michael speaks clearly. You missed nothing that was truly yours. Heaven rerouted the signs until your eyes could recognize them. But now, the rerouting stops. The map becomes clear. The spiritual haze is lifting. And with it, the realization that the delay you hated was actually divine rehearsal. Because if the miracle had come when you demanded, you would have doubted its origin. Now, you will recognize its voice. Restoration is coming. Not just as a feel-good promise, but as a prophetic reversal. What was taken will be returned. What was stolen will be multiplied. What was blocked will now flow. But hear this clearly. Restoration requires obedience. The signs you see now must be met with the actions you refused before. Heaven is not interested in passive hope. It requires active partnership. Here's how you know this is your word. You have peace when you pray about it. You keep hearing the same confirmation from places that don't even know each other. Doors are aligning. Conversations are circling. The natural and the spiritual are converging. You are standing in a holy overlap. And this is your prophetic phrase to hold. Heaven returns what was delayed and redesigns what was broken. Repeat it. Declare it. Let it become the rhythm of your week. Now speak this prayer aloud. Father, I see what I missed. I surrender what I misjudged. I receive what you never stop sending. This is your alignment moment. Michael is not just showing you the signs. He's illuminating the path. What felt like confusion now becomes clarity. What once seemed like fragments now form a pattern. This is revelation, not just information but illumination. And when heaven reveals, it requires response. Revelation is not entertainment. It's assignment. The miracle is already moving toward you. But now, you must move toward it. Type ISE the pattern in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 5885 is unlocking hidden signs before the weekends. Did this revelation just shift something in your spirit? Then know this. Your clarity is meant to be someone else's confirmation. When you give, not to a platform, but to the purpose of heaven, you join in the divine ripple effect. Your support today allows the word to reach someone on the edge of giving up. Archangel Michael is not just stirring you to receive, he's stirring you to release. Proverbs 11:25 is breathing over this moment. The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Heaven takes notice when you fund the flow. You can sow through Super Thanks membership or the PayPal link in the video description. Don't wait. Let your gift be a signal to heaven that you're aligned, awake, and willing. Type I take him a prophecy partner in the comments if you're standing with us. Blessing code 999 is loosed over every seed you sow. Say yes. Right now. Not next week. Not after another confirmation. Not when you feel more ready. Say yes. Because heaven has extended the invitation, and Archangel Michael is standing at the threshold of your next season with an outstretched hand. Destiny is not automatic. It is not downloaded. It is activated. And that activation begins the moment your spirit responds with alignment, with action, with consent. You prayed. You fasted. You waited. But now, heaven is shifting from petition to participation. The miracle is near, but it requires a motion from you, a deliberate step into agreement. Destiny does not respond to delay. It responds to yes. Not a hesitant yes. Not a fearful yes. A prophetic yes, the kind that says, even if I don't see the full picture, I trust the one who holds the blueprint. Heaven is not asking you to climb a mountain in one night. It's asking for one move. Just one. A call you've been putting off. An apology you've resisted giving. An application you've delayed out of fear. Destiny is built in small obediences, and Michael is not asking for performance. He's asking for precision. Take the step. Heaven will meet you there to help you activate this season, I'm giving you a divine rhythm, a 3-day plan that aligns with angelic timing. Day 1. Silence and petition. Begin with stillness. Speak to heaven. Ask Michael for confirmation, for clarity, for courage. Day 2. 1 act of obedience. Make the call. Send the message. Apply. To. Forgive. Obey. Day 3. Public declaration. Share your intent. Tell someone what you decided. Announce it in prayer group. Write it in your journal. Bring it into the atmosphere, because what you speak, you authorize. This is how you partner with what heaven is doing. You don't wait for perfection. You move in alignment. You speak your yes aloud. You let your body agree with what your spirit already knows. Destiny will not chase you. It will wait at the last place you obeyed. And Michael is there, guarding the threshold, watching for motion, ready to accelerate what has been waiting in the wings. You've been asking for breakthrough. The breakthrough doesn't come only through intercession. It comes through action. Faith without works is dead, and now, your works must match your prayers. Not because God needs you to perform, but because your faith needs a vehicle. Heaven is watching for movement, even if it's just 1 step. Start declaring your intent. Let the words build your momentum. Speak these 3 phrases every morning. I accept my next. I steward with humility. I receive increase. Let your voice set the tone of your day. Heaven listens to declarations. Angels move when words align with assignment. Now listen. Your next step may not feel equal to your promise. It may feel too small to matter. But understand this. Small steps in obedience cause massive shifts in the spirit. You may think you're just sending an email, but heaven may see it as opening a corridor of restoration. You may think you're just forgiving 1 person, but that act could be the key to your family's generational blessing. Michael is reminding you, don't despise the small thing, because obedience is the currency of movement. And those who obey in silence often receive in public. If you fear failure, hear this truth. Even your missteps, when birthed in faith, will be caught by grace. Heaven covers those who walk forward with clean hands and willing hearts. You're not being asked to be flawless. You're being asked to be faithful. To solidify this activation, Michael invites you into a prophetic ritual. Choose a small object, a stone, a page, a pin, a token. Hold it. Anoint it. Declare over it. This marks my yes. This seals my season. This aligns my next. Let that act become a memorial, a covenant, a moment that heaven will mark it. Now, don't walk this alone. Choose someone to walk with you, to pray with you, to check in, to ask, what have you activated this week? Because accountability accelerates breakthrough. This is your moment. This is your turning point. Destiny hath been knocking. And now, let your yes become the door. Zab. Woo. Speak. Line. Activate. Type ISAYYES in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 1441 is opening gates ahead of your obedience. While you sleep, heaven speaks. While you cry, heaven records. And while you wait, seemingly in stillness, there is a silent exchange taking place in the spirit realm, a sacred negotiation. where angels carry your case into the courts of divine justice. You may not feel it, but it is happening. Archangel Michael is not idle. He is not distant. He is not watching from afar. He is present at the transaction table of your destiny, overseeing the recovery of what was taken, the redemption of what was broken, and the rerouting of what was delayed. You've been under the impression that your silence means nothing is happening. But the truth is this: the most profound movements of heaven are often the quietest. The loudest prayers do not always accelerate the miracle. Sometimes, the most powerful breakthrough is birthed in quiet trust. And in this quiet, an exchange is occurring, not in the natural, but in the unseen realm. What was lost is being bartered back. What was stolen is being retrieved. And it's happening without your striving. There are 4 stages to this divine transaction: petition, presentation, bargaining, and delivery. Your prayers initiated the petition. Your tears, your midnight worship, your refusal to curse God in pain, all of it has been recorded and presented. Michael, as the angelic enforcer, is standing in the courtroom of the Almighty, presenting evidence of your obedience, your surrender, your resilience. Heaven sees it all. The bargaining follows, not to convince God to be good, but to remove every obstacle that opposes your promise. And then comes the moment of delivery, the exact moment where signs begin to manifest, and your spirit receives what your mouth once begged for. Michael's role is not just as a guard, but as a divine courier. He ensures the handoff between heaven's promise and your human experience is successful. But this exchange is sacred. It requires reverence. It requires posture. You can't walk into a holy transaction distracted or disinterested. You must watch for signs of delivery. You must prepare to receive what you haven't fully seen. Let me tell you what's being returned: your voice, once silenced by shame; your reputation, once tarnished by lies; your resources, once strangled by unnecessary delays; your relationships, once broken by deception. These are not just coming back. They are returning multiplied, purified, and realigned for your next. But make no mistake, the exchange may require something of you. You may have to let go of bitterness. You may have to accept that the blessing will look different than it did before it was stolen. The child you prayed for may not return in the way you imagined, but they will return. The job may not be the same, but it will be right. Heaven doesn't just return what you lost, it returns what will last. To partner with this exchange, Michael is inviting you to speak a short, weighty liturgy aloud. I release what was. I embrace what is coming. I welcome what is already mine in the Spirit. Say it in faith. Even if your surroundings say otherwise, let your declaration become the receipt that proves the delivery is en route. Signs will follow. Small, specific, unexplainable. A number that keeps appearing. A psalm lyric that echoes a private prayer. A phone call you stop expecting. These are not coincidences. They are confirmation tags. Pay attention. Document them. Heaven always leaves fingerprints. Timing is critical. You may not see the full return immediately, but know this: Michael shortens unnecessary delays. He speeds up delivery where faith has been proven. Patience is still required, but it's a waiting that builds, not one that bleeds. And as you wait, The exchange continues in silence, with angels moving through corridors of heaven and earth to place what is yours directly into your life. And when it arrives, don't waste it. Steward what's restored. Allocate it wisely. Use your regained influence to bless others. Speak truth where once you were silent. Love deeply where once you were guarded. Sow generously where once you withheld. What returns is not just a gift, it's a trust. What heaven releases, it expects you to manage. Now envision this: a scroll in heaven with your name, a stamp pressed into the bottom corner, fulfilled, and beneath it a seal of fire, not of wrath but of favor. You've been heard. You've been vindicated. You've been remembered. Type "I receive the exchange" in the comments if this message is for you. Blessing code 2112 is finalizing your spiritual transaction. Justice is already in motion. Not in theory. Not in some distant day. But right now, in realms unseen, under the watchful command of Archangel Michael, the scales are being balanced. The wrongs that whispered you were forgotten are being revisited by the Judge of Heaven. The betrayals that cracked your heart are being answered with divine correction. And the reversals that once humiliated you, those very reversals are becoming the raw material for your ascension. This is the hour of divine recompense. Not karma, not chance, but a holy reversal born of righteousness. What was meant to bury you is becoming the platform God will use to lift you. Michael has been positioned in your timeline, watching, not just defending you in battle, but gathering evidence for your vindication. What man did in secret, heaven saw in full light. And what was whispered in closed rooms, God is now bringing into the open, not to shame you, but to honor you. Divine justice does not come with chaos. It comes with precision. You will not have to fight to be seen. You will not have to beg to be restored. You will not have to manipulate to be remembered. What is yours will find its way back, and it will come with increase. This is the signature of heaven's justice multiplication, not just restoration. There's a principle you must understand now. Heaven does not only return what was stolen, it returns it better, purified, and multiplied. I've seen it happen. A woman betrayed in ministry, cast aside, forgotten. But she stayed faithful, quiet, prayerful. 1 year later, the very platform that silenced her invited her to speak, not just as a guest, but as a leader. The injustice made space for her influence. The exile built her oil. Her return was not just restoration. It was elevation. You may feel like the enemy got the final word. You may feel like they moved on while you remained in pieces. But hear me prophetically, God doesn't settle cases halfway. When heaven restores, it does not merely repair, it repurposes it. The broken place becomes the birthing place. A wound becomes the witness. The stone they rolled over your grave becomes the platform you preach from. Michael is not moved by noise. He is moved by alignment. If you will forgive, not because they deserve it, but because your future demands it, then the reversal will accelerate. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is spiritual unlocking. It is how you exit the courtroom free. Bitterness will only delay the verdict. But mercy, partnered with heaven's justice, opens floodgates of favor. If you're waiting on reversal, here's what you must do. Tidy your spiritual house. Confess what needs confessing. Release what needs releasing. Stop rehearsing old offenses. Let God write the ending. Then build your inner man. Strengthen your character. Because when the reversal comes, and it will come, you must be ready to steward it with integrity. Reversals often follow a divine pattern. Here is first a season of silence, then a stirring of signs. Then comes the full reversal, swift, undeniable, public. Watch for the pattern. You may already be in phase 2. Signs are beginning to stir. Conversations are circling. Memories are resurfacing. God is rearranging the script. But beware the trap of entitlement. This reversal is not a reward for your perfection. It is a response to your perseverance. You are not being repaid because you earned it. You are being trusted because you endured it. Michael honors the ones who remained loyal in the silence, who did compromise, who didn't sell their calling for approval. Speak this now as a daily declaration. Tenfold shall return what was taken. In timing, in testimony, in territory. My justice is already in motion. Let your mouth prophesy before your eyes confirm it. And when small reversals begin to happen, testify. Tell someone. Open your mouth. The enemy thrives in secrecy, but faith is multiplied in testimony. Every return becomes seed for someone else's faith. Don't hide what God is restoring. Announce it in humility, and watch how heaven adds more. You are not cursed. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are chosen, covered, and about to be publicly confirmed. Michael stands by the scales, and this time they are tipping in your favor. Type "My justice is here" in the comments if this message is yours. Blessing code 7070 is restoring with multiplied grace. You prayed. Heaven replied. But somewhere between your cry and the miracle, the signs were overlooked. The whispers were drowned out by noise. The nudges were buried beneath distraction. But still, heaven waited. Still, Archangel Michael stood watch. Still, the miracle did not cancel itself. Because God never retracts what He has scheduled for those who remain faithful. This message, from beginning to end, has not been a warning of punishment, but a prophetic realignment. You have not been denied. You've been delayed so your eyes could be open. You've been crying out for movement, but heaven had been waiting for notice. The signs have been all around you, in the shift of atmosphere, in the repetition of dreams, in the person who spoke a phrase that pierced your soul. These were not coincidences. They were summonses. Michael is not merely reminding you to pay attention. He is commanding it. Because the miracle you've been praying for is already in motion, and whether it lands in your hands or slides past you into the arms of another comes down to one thing. Will you see it this time? Will you move when nudged? Will you turn when prompted? Will you obey when silence falls and the Spirit whispers, "Now"? Let me remind you, the instructions were never complicated. They were spiritual, simple, powerful. Be still. Set boundaries. Watch for the signs. Prepare to act. Participate in the silent exchange. This is your keychain. These are the steps that unlock delayed favor and usher in strategic miracles. Now I speak this blessing over you, not in theory, but in commission. By the sword and shield of Michael, may your eyes be opened. May your timing be refined. May your waiting turn into welcome. May the door you almost missed become the doorway you walk through in victory. What was veiled is now visible. What was blocked is now flowing. What was withheld is now being handed over. And if your heart is trembling, if your spirit is stirring, then speak this aloud right now. Make it your seal. I see. I release. I receive. Say it again, not as a whisper but as a declaration. I see. I release. I receive. You are protected. You are positioned. You are commissioned. You are sealed, seen, and sent. Till now, go. Tell one trusted voice what you are watching for. Declare the next 72 hours as a window of holy observation. Record the signs. Weigh the whiskers. Honor the hunches. Because what you watch for, you are prepared to receive. Archangel Michael is still standing beside you, not just defending you, but signaling you. Not just guarding your miracle, but waving you into it. Do not overlook what is already appearing. Notice the small things and the miracle will follow. Type "I notice" now in the comments if this message seals something inside of you. Blessing code 8181 is releasing final clarity and favor. Before you go, I want you to hear this with your spirit. This word was not random. It was heaven's answer to your private wrestle. And if it reached you, imagine who else it was meant for. Every seed you sow into this ministry, whether through a YouTube super thanks, a monthly membership, or the PayPal link in the video description, is a trumpet blast in the spirit that says, send the word again. Let another soul hear. Let another one see. Malachi 3:10 is not theory. It's a divine challenge. Bring the whole tithe and see if I will not open the windows of heaven. This is your moment to fund the fire, to become a guardian of breakthrough for someone else. So give boldly. Prophetic giving is not about charity, it's about partnership. Type "I take him a miracle funder" in the comments if you're standing with us. Blessing code 333 is declaring abundance back over your house.